Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Mark, the 14th chapter. After 2 days was the feast of the Passover and of unleavened bread, and the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might take him by craft and put him to death. So they were thinking, how can they were plotting on the Lord and how they can catch him and find a way to justify putting him to death. But they said, and the reason it wasn't anything else, right? The reason that this is what they wanted in their minds is because the Most High set it up. That's how Yahushua would be that sacrifice. So they actually had to do this. That's why they didn't think, oh, let's banish him, let's just scourge him, and then let's just get him. No, they wanted to kill him. But they said, not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar of the people. And being in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at meat, there came a woman having an alabaster box of ointment of spikenard, very precious. And she brake the box and poured it on his head. And there were some that had indignation within themselves. So they were mad. And really, I think in the book of John, it expounds that this was actually Judas. And said, why was this waste of the ointment made? For it might have been sold for more than 300 pence and have been given to the poor. And they murmured against her. You just wasted a whole good ass. You could have sold that for a good amount. You could have done a lot more with that. And Yahushua said, let her alone. Why trouble ye her? She hath wrought a good work on me. For ye have the poor with you always. And whensoever ye will, ye may do them good. But me ye have not always. See, so what she's doing is good, because I'm not always going to be here. The poor, whenever you want, you can always help them and do good to them. But I'm a limited time edition right now. She hath done what she could. She is come aforehand to anoint my body to the burying, which they didn't understand that either. It had gone over their head because he was foreshadowing his death. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached throughout the whole world, this also that she hath done shall be spoken of for a memorial of her. And Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went unto the chief priest to betray him unto them. And when they heard it, they were glad, and promised to give him money. And he sought how he might conveniently betray him. So he was plotting on what's the best way to do this, because you can't do it in broad daylight where everybody's there. And he went and said, all right, I have an idea, I have a plan. And the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover, his disciples said unto him, where wilt thou that we go and prepare, that thou mayest eat the Passover? And he sendeth forth 2 of his disciples, and saith unto them, go ye into the city, and there shall meet you a man bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him. And wheresoever he shall go in, say ye to the good man of the house, the master saith, where is the guest chamber, where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And he will shew you a large upper room furnished, meaning, cleaned out and prepared, and there make ready for us. So it'll have everything needed for us to keep the Passover there. And his disciples went forth and came into the city, and found as he had said unto them, and they made ready the Passover. And in the evening he cometh with the 12, and as they sat and did eat, Yahushua said, verily I say unto you, one of you which eateth with me shall betray me. And that's that prophecy in the book of Psalms, right? He that ate my bread hath lifted up the heel against me, which was referring to what Judas did in betraying the Lord. And they began to be sorrowful, and to say unto him one by one, is it I? And another said, is it I? And he answered and said unto them, it is one of the 12 that dippeth with me in the dish. And the Son of Man indeed goeth, which was Judas, that is, as it is written of him, but woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. Good were it for that man if he had never been born. So what's going to happen to the Son of Man, Yahushai, is going to happen because it's been prophesied. That's been written to happen. But woe unto the man by whom Yahushua is betrayed, or the Son of Man is betrayed. You were better off not even being born than to have been born to do some shit like this. And as they did eat, Yahushua took bread and blessed and brake it and gave to them and said, Take, eat. This is my body. And he took the cup, symbolic that is, right? And he took the cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them. And they all drank of it. And he said unto them, This is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many. That is, and he was about to go through that. So he knew, once again, it wasn't fully reality, just yet for them. Verily I say unto you, I will drink no more of the fruit of the vine until that day that I drink it new in the kingdom of God. And when they had sung an hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. And Yahushua saith unto them, All ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. And Yahushua being the shepherd, his sheep being his disciples, once they did catch him, right, when the scribes and armies, and they came there and they grabbed him up, guess what? Just as he said, going into that word offended, it also goes into deserting one who you ought to trust. And that's what happened. They fled. But after I am risen, I will go before you into Galilee. So, meaning he would go ahead and meet them there. But Peter said unto him, Although all shall be offended, yet will I not. So everybody could leave you. Everybody could be offended, but I'm not. And Yahushua saith unto him, Verily I say unto thee, that this day, even this night, before the cock crow twice, thou shalt deny me thrice. So before the cock crows twice, you would have denied me 3 times, Peter. But he spake the more vehemently, If I should die with thee, I would rather, even if I got to die with you, Lord, I will not deny you in any wise. Likewise also said they all. And they came to a place which was named Gethsemane. So much for having free will, right? And he saith to his disciples, Sit ye here while I shall pray. And he taketh with him Peter and James and John, and began to be sore amazed and to be very heavy. The amazed is not like today you think of amazing, like joyous. He was heavy in the spirit, right? He was feeling that pressure. And saith unto them, My soul is exceeding sorrowful unto death. Like he's under such a stress, right? That if it's like worse than death. Tarry ye here and watch. And he went forward a little and fell on the ground and prayed, that if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. So he prayed to the Father that if it's possible, if there's another way around this. And he said, Abba, Father, all things are possible unto thee. Take away this cup from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what thou wilt. And the Lord, the Most High, didn't answer him. He didn't take the cup away from him, because that was what they had agreed upon. That was what had to happen. It was already written. It was already said. And so it had to happen. But Yahushua was in the flesh. Okay. So he was feeling that pressure. He was feeling that anguish. But he understood. That's why he said, Nevertheless, not what I will, but what thou wilt. So he understood what needed to be done. And he cometh and findeth them sleeping, and saith unto Peter, Simon, sleepest thou? Couldst not thou watch 1 hour? And this was the case. They were very tired, but it was something Yahushua had to go through alone. Watch ye and pray, lest ye enter into temptation. The spirit truly is ready, but the flesh is weak. And yes, as he was saying this to them then, it still, holds a lot of weight even now, right? Because it's important to watch. It's important to pray because our spirit is willing, right? Your spirit may be willing and may be ready and eager, but your flesh, it's your body, it's your flesh that you have to strengthen or keep under subjection because it is weak. Sometimes you give in, not because of your spirit, but because of your flesh. And he warned them of this. And again, he went away and prayed and spake the same words. And when he returned, he found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. It was late. They were tired. They were in anger. They were already stressed with the situation. They're hearing this. They're like, yo, neither wist they what to answer him. So when they came back, when he came back, they were asleep. They couldn't explain. They're just like, look, we're sorry. And he cometh the third time and saith unto them, sleep on now and take your rest. It is enough. The hour is come. Behold, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. And I'll read this in the NIV as well. It says here, returning the third time, he said unto them, are you still sleeping and resting? Enough. The hour has come. Look, the Son of Man is delivered into the hand of sinners. Rise up and let us go. Lo, he that betrayeth me is at hand. And immediately, while he yet spake, cometh Judas, one of the 12, and with him a great multitude with swords and staves, from the chief priests and the scribes and the elders. And he that betrayed him had given them a token, saying, whomsoever I shall kiss, that same is he. Take him and lead him away safely. So he had already planned with them that the one that he kisses, that's a greeting on the cheek, that's the signal. He's the one. He's the Messiah. Grab him up. And as soon as he was come, he goeth straightway to him, and saith, Master, Master, and kissed him. And they laid hands on him and took him. That is, they apprehended Yahushua. And one of them that stood by drew a sword and smote a servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. Swift precision. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, are ye, now this part isn't mentioned in the book of Mark, but he basically told the one who cut off the ear of the servant to sheath his sword again. And then he put the ear back. He basically healed the servant. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, are ye come out as against a thief, with swords and with staves to take me? I was daily with you in the temple, teaching, and ye took me not. But the scriptures must be fulfilled. So you coming out here like I'm some some criminal. I was walking around you teaching, doing all this in the temple. But I understand you have to do this because the scriptures have to be fulfilled. And they all forsook him and fled. Once smite the shepherd and the sheep shall scatter, like he said. And they said, oh no, Lord, no. But look at that. And there followed him a certain young man, having a linen cloth cast about his naked body. And the young man laid hold on him, and he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked. Now, when you look this up, sources say that this was Mark, this young man over here. As you'll notice, this account isn't in any of the other books, right, except for the book of Mark. And it's, it sounds a bit more unique, right? It sounds more like from the sense of one, recollecting like, hey, I was also there, But just like John, he didn't identify himself in it, right? So in addition to those disciples there, you had a Mark, or this young man that followed them. And as it says, he had this linen cloth about him. And so when Yahushua was apprehended, the troops, the young men they try to grab up Mark too, right, from where he was. Like, oh, yeah, he wanted them. So when they reached and they grabbed him, he was, oh, hell no. He slipped out of that cloth and he was out. As it says, he fled from them naked. Now, not butt naked, but like, in his his undergarment. He wasn't taking any chances. And they led Yahushua away to the high priest. And with him were assembled all the chief priests and the elders and the scribes. And Peter followed him afar off, even into the palace of the high priest. And keep in mind, Peter had to do this, right? Because what Yahushua said had to come and pass, or had to come to pass. And he sat with the servants and warmed himself at the fire. And the chief priests and all the council sought for witness against Yahushua to put him to death, and found none. For many bare false witness against him, but their witness agreed not together. See, so a lot of people came trying to say, oh, we heard him say this, we heard him say that, but it didn't line up. Their stories were not agreeing with each other. And there arose certain and bare false witness against them, which is a sin. You're not supposed to do that. But they did it. Maybe they were paid off. Saying, we heard him say, I will destroy this temple that is made with hands, and within 3 days I will build another made without hands. So, but neither so did their witness agree together, because they try to get multiple witnesses who could have the story straight. Oh, we both heard him say this, but their stories were not, once again, lining up. And the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Yahushua, saying, Answerest thou nothing? What is it which these witness against thee? So don't you hear what they're saying that you're guilty of? What are they talking about? You don't got nothing to say? But he held his peace and answered nothing. Again the high priest asked him and said unto him, Art thou the anointed, the Son of the Blessed? And Yahushua said, I am. And ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, that is of God, and coming in the clouds of heaven. Now, how would they see that? Because they died, and Yahushua would return at a much later date. So how would they see him returning in the coming in the clouds of heaven? Through reincarnation. Those wicked scribes, Pharisees, chief priests, they're here today. Then the high priest rent his clothes and saith, What need we any further witnesses? We don't need any more witnesses. You just heard out of his mouth. Ye have heard the blasphemy. What think ye? And they all condemned him to be guilty of death. And some began to spit on him, and to cover his face, and to buffet him, and to say unto him, Prophesy. Prophesy. And the servants did strike him with the palms of their hands. So they slapped him, they punched him, they spat on him. And as Peter was beneath in the palace, there cometh one of the maids of the high priest. And when she saw Peter warming himself, she looked upon him and said, And thou also wast with Yahushua of Nazareth. But he denied, saying, I know not, neither understand I what thou sayest. I don't even know what you're talking about. And he went out into the porch, and the cock crew. And a maid saw him again, and began to say unto them that stood by, Hey, this guy, this is one of them. Yeah, that's one of his disciples. He's definitely one of his disciples. And he denied it again. And a little after, they that stood by said again to Peter, Surely thou art one of them, for thou art a Galilean, and thy speech agreeth thereto. Your accent, we can tell you're definitely one of his followers. But he began to curse and to swear, saying, I know not this man of whom ye speak. And the second time the cock crew, and Peter called to mind the word that Yahushua said unto him, Before the cock crow twice, thou shalt deny me thrice. And when he thought thereon, he wept, and he repented of that. All right, he went from, I'd rather die with you than to deny you, and then boom. So it goes to show you, right, what the Lord says, right, what is set to happen is going to happen. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. And that brings us to the end of the book of Mark, the 14th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak, Wadash. And until next time, Shalom.